Welcome back to a new episode of Good Earners Reviewing The Sopranos. And here on Good Earners, we like to talk about family, finessing, finances, and feelings in the world of Tony Soprano, bringing you a new perspective, a fly perspective, and a black perspective. As y'all have known, it has been me for a while. Of course, shout out to the other two capos, Spike Lou, Big Rich Town, but it's been me for a while, just continually feeding a feed. I hope that y'all enjoyed the crossover episode that we did. We did put those on both feeds intentionally because you get a little bit more Sopranos lure for those that are Good Earners fans, and of course those that are No More Half Measure fans, they get that as well. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. I wanted to tap in with y'all because I wanted to give y'all one more before we get into the new year as far as word to the wise. I see that people are actually more receptive to it than I thought. I thought it was going to be a waste of time, in the sense that people wouldn't care. They're like, oh, it's just Mo talking, rambling about real life problems. We don't come to this podcast for that, But people have been a lot more receptive than I thought. So I'm enjoying this, and I plan to keep this going. So with that being said, also all of the emails, I have been seeing your emails. So I want y'all to know that I've read them, and there's some really strong sentimental things in there, and we will speak to those things at a later point in time. So I want y'all to keep writing in goodearnerpod@gmail.com. Keep writing in your personal connection with the show, your journey with the Sopranos, journey with Good Earners. Keep writing in. We're definitely reading those. We're just not responding because we're saving our response for an on-air episode, which we may just do that. Just communicate with y'all on air, just reading your email, or Rich reading your email. But nonetheless, just acknowledging you because we do thank you for taking the time to share from your own personal journey and just your own personal feelings. So I have read those emails, so I see y'all. I want y'all to know that it's not going overlooked. But with that being said, there is a quote to finish out this year, and for me, really going into the next year. And let me find where this comes from exactly. It's an Uncle Junior quote, Junior Corrado Soprano. I believe this is a season 4 episode. Let me see. Sorry, y'all. I should have been more prepared here. I would like to pull where the quote comes from. We'll find it hopefully we'll find it by the end of the episode. But here's the clip.
What's the fucking answer?
Who says there is one? That's what being a boss is. You steer the ship the best way you know. Sometimes it's smooth, sometimes you hit the rocks. In the meantime, you find your pleasures where you can.
And that was the clip from Junior Soprano. Now, if y'all listened to the Good Earners podcast that we did, obviously here throughout, y'all know how we feel about Junior. Our favorite Uncle Junior is obviously season 1, and they pretty much tail off his authoritative positioning after that. But there's these type of moments that we wish we would have got more of, because Junior was very sound. He was very clear in what he was saying. I love the way it starts. Like he's like, aren't you going to ask me? Which speaks to like how the lack of respect wasn't really there as far as Tony looking to Junior. I mean, yes, he did look to Junior to advise him in some degree because he's from that old school, from the Dickie Moltisanti era, from the Johnny Boy era. So he did look to him in that sense. But even then, it's like it took for Junior to have to ask him. So which is just a funny thing in itself. But it's the interesting thing because I'm going to get into like the later part of the quote, but I even want to talk about like that first little part before where he was like, great. That's, Tony Pace is like, what's the answer? And and Junior's like, who says there's an answer? Who says there's a right answer? Who says there's a right answer? And I like this because there is this constant unsureness that happens. And sometimes we're always trying to figure out, are we making the right decisions? What was the right answer? What was the right way to go about things? And he just says it plainly. It's like, who says there's a right answer? And this is that I love that. Like that's what Sopranos has done so well is it doesn't have to be a sure thing. Nothing has to be a sure thing. We theorize and we try to conclude things, but it doesn't have to be a sure thing at all. And that's what we love about it, because life is so unsuring. It's not assuring, but unsuring, if that's a word. And that's what Sopranos does. And what he says in this quote, you steer the ship the best way you know, the best you know. And of course, him being the boss, he says sometimes it's smooth, sometimes you hit the rocks. In the meantime, you find your pleasures where you can. Shout out to Monica, and she is one of the supporters of ours. And she's a heavy listener, and we will be having a conversation coming in the new year when we line up our schedules. But she had such an optimistic view on what I was doing here. So as far as the word to the wise, and I like the fact that she was optimistic about things, which helped me lighten up a little bit, because I can be a miserable prick, similar to Tony. But this whole line, this whole concept, you steer the ship the best you know. That literally, like, we're online and everybody's always telling us how we should do things, or this is the right way, or I was today years old when I figured out. And not to say that those things are not beneficial, not to say those things are not informative, but sometimes it's just like you steered the best way you know. And there's so many factors of your upbringing, your culture, ethnicity, region, neighborhood, nature, nurture. It's so many different factors that play a part with how you steer the ship. I look at the ship as, he's talking about, obviously, Tony being the mob boss, of the family, but I look at it as steering your life, your scenarios, your the things that you are attached to, how you steer the ship that is attached to who you are, and you steer it the best way you know. And he says sometimes it's smooth. Some days you do have smooth days where it's like, man, this worked out perfectly. The traffic was good. I got in that bag. I got my job done. Came home to the crib. The family's good. Bills is paid. Eating a good meal today. Got a good laugh today. Watched the stand up. Whatever it is, like, sometimes it's smooth when you steer the ship, and then sometimes you hit rocks where you get in a rut, get in a difficult space where you're like, bro, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. This is the toughest time of my life, or this is going to be so challenging, or I feel alone, or I don't have the help I need, or I don't have the finances I need. What am I going to do? But the thing is that he says that kind of levels it all. And this is why I like it, again, because it's not so much half empty, half full. It just is what it is, which is a cliche phrase, but it's one of the strongest phrases that I feel fits no matter what generation that we're in. Is what it is one of the most profound, simplistic statements. And he finished that by saying, in the meantime, while you're unsure, while there is no right answer, while there it's smooth or you hit the rocks, in the meantime, you find your pleasures where you can. Now, again, in this context, he's telling Tony this is being a boss. We find out throughout the series that for Tony, it's not all he thought it would be. It's not exactly how he felt it would feel when he was watching, like I said, the Dickie Moltisantis and the all the stuff we've seen in Many Saints of Newark, like just how he envisioned and seen it versus him doing it. Like, just like, you have, all due respect, you have no idea what it's like to be number one. Every decision you make, like, that whole thing was just him finally letting out and exposing the feeling he gets with being the boss, where it's just not what he think it is. But this is season 2, so this is like him just coming into his own as the actual boss and not the acting boss of the Soprano family in Jersey. So you find your pleasures where you can, which I think that we see that throughout the series, where Tony does do that when he is like gambling, or he's finding a new racket with the housing finesse that he does with Ralph, or he gets with Svetlana because this is just a whole new space for him in regards to women, or he gets with Ralph's girl, get with Christopher's girl out in Vegas, Gumar, that is. He just finds his pleasures where he can, and it's just it's in tying it back to our life. It's just, I think when you could just make peace that, like, look, it's you're gonna have ups and downs. It's just gonna be that, when you have ups, it's gonna be a weird way to put it. When you have ups, be surprised about it. When you have downs, don't be surprised about it. You see what I'm saying? And here's a real morbid way to put it. I'm like Bobby Bacala said, I'm a morbid fuck right now. So I'm gonna say it like this. This is what's helped me navigate life. And I don't know if y'all can get with it or not. If you don't, it's fine. I'm no guru, I'm no therapist. But I used to think, and I'm about to get out of here because I've been on my soapbox way too long. My Melfi session is over with y'all. But I used to think life is full of life is just full of happy moments. Life is happy, and in between all of the happiness, it's full of these like sad or tough, difficult moments. But over the years, I start to look at it a little differently. I say, you know what? Maybe life is sad and it is tough, and in between all of that, it has happy moments, and it's kind of helped me change the way I look, my outlook on life, just in the sense that if you all you know that, because I mean, to be born to die, that concept itself, it's sad. It's sad. It's no matter how you want to put it, it's sad. And so when I kind of changed the lid on it, I started to kind of find the silver lining or the happiness within the difficulty that life can be. And again, I know I'm American, Black American, whatever. It's not the toughest life out there. There's people overseas that are going through way much more, and they could probably find more joy than us Americans that are always constantly complaining. But it did help my perspective. So with that being said, you steer the ship the best you know. Sometimes it's smooth, and sometimes you hit the rocks. But in the meantime, you find your pleasures where you can. So find your pleasures where you can. Don't lean too far one way or the other way. So shout out to Junior Corrado Soprano. Shout out to this scene. And actually, I did figure it out. Sorry, y'all. Better late than never. It's from season 2, episode 11, House Arrest. So, which wasn't one of the greatest episodes, but again, I loved all of the family aspect in The Sopranos, as y'all know. Again, y'all write in goodearnerpod@gmail.com. Let me know what kind of episodes y'all want to have. Again, I'm going to have an episode with me and Monica. I'm not going to tell you what episode we're going to discuss, but we've been in contact. She is one of the supporters of ours. Again, y'all have the right to write in as well. She's a supporter of ours, and she wants to talk about a particular episode, but not in the Good Earner style, but in a maybe similar style to this. So we will be talking about a particular episode from The Sopranos. Obviously, we've done it in the Good Earner style, so that'll be interesting. And also, I do want to have this interview. There is a woman that was connected to the life I spoke about before a while back, and I hadn't reached out in a while because the timing didn't line up. But hopefully next year, excuse me, too many of those Cuban cigars right there. But hopefully next year I'll be able to, bring her in, and we'll have some even more connected conversations. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for staying with us. Even I know this feed hasn't been the same, and it's not going to be the same because we've already, finished what we came to do. But I want to keep it going because we have such a loyal fan base, supporters, that I want to keep giving y'all more of this Sopranos lore, this Sopranos content. And hopefully also I'll be able to bring back Best Decision Made, because I know some people were asking about when you're going to do any more of those videos. So I do want to try to get back into that. So I'm working on it, trying to keep myself available so that I can do it. But, between this and 2 other podcasts, speaking of 2 other podcasts, let me just put them out there. If y'all hadn't known, if y'all was wondering what else are we doing, I'll say it like this. So Spike Lou, hopefully if I miss anything, charge it to my head, not my heart, Spike. But Spike is a part of Frames Per Second. Is the mic still on? Another Week in the Books, On Deck TV show, Dead End Sports, No More Half Measures, and of course this podcast, Good Earners. Rich, if y'all want to find Rich, he's a part of the Culture Garden. We got y'all. Another Week in the Books. Him and Spike do that together. Of course, No More Half Measures, this pod, and Gridiron Jungle if y'all are into Bengals content. And lastly, if you want to find where you can hear me out in other podcasts, I'm much on a smaller scale in regards to how many, but of course this, No More Half Measures, which is our Breaking Bad pod, and the Childish Grown Up Show. Some a lot more lighthearted, which is some I really needed at the right time. Just a nostalgic film review podcast. We talk about a lot of stuff growing up. It's just, just nostalgia stuff that we laugh about. And then we go back in time and we review old movies. So, but yeah, if y'all want to find us, those are the places you can find us in between time. Y'all, by the time y'all hearing this, y'all be getting ready for the new year. So that's what I wanted to emphasize. We're all going to set goals. We're all going to try to get better. We're all going to do this. But at the end of the day, keep this in mind. This will help you. You just got to steer the ship the best way you know. That's it. Just steer the ship the best way you know. Don't put all the pressure on yourself. Just steer the ship the best way you know. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. And remember, don't forget about it.